This is Wycombe Sound.
Hello everyone and welcome to the latest episode of The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wycombe Sound. I'm your host Dane Cobain. This is the weekly radio show where we have a different guest each week. We have an episode of the Rhylight Zone, which is local creativity stories, that kind of thing. We also have a lot of music as well and an album review from Twangling Jack Ford over in the Ilk Shed. My monitor just fell off my computer while I was recording this, but I styled that out like a pro, I think. As always, you can find The Art Show on Facebook. You can just search for The Art Show on Wycombe Sound. You should be able to find us. You can also email me here at the studio on dane.cobain@wycombesound.org.uk. And I particularly want to hear from creatives, musicians, poets, performers, anyone who's got any local creative news or alternatively MP3s, etc. that I can share here on the show. So before we get any further in, I want to share a few newsy bits. The main one is that my good friend Jordana Blake has launched an Etsy shop where she's selling prints. A lot of it's actually music inspired. There's also like some money tree prints. It's great. If you search for Jordana Designs on Etsy, you should be able to find it. Fun fact, Jordana was actually the first ever guest I had on the show, I think. She was either first or second, but I'm pretty sure she was the first one. We also have some news, local artist Calculator, who again has been on the show previously. He designed us a very sexy new logo, which you can see that on our Facebook page. It just looks a lot cooler and I think represents the show a lot more, and it's great to be featuring his work as well. He is available for commissions and stuff too, so I think you can find him on Instagram if you search for @CalculatorSounds, with the second S in sounds being a Z. So, we're going to move on to the Rhylight Zone. This is the weekly part of the show where we have stories, poetry, anything creative really. It's a bit of a nod to the Twilight Zone, but not really, because there doesn't have to be like big twists and stuff like that. This one is one of my stories. It's called The Sun Came Out, and it is narrated by my better half, Susie Q DeMarco, who was a guest a couple of weeks back on the show. So yeah, this is The Sun Came Out.
The sun came out, and it was fabulous. It was a horrible grey day, the perfect day for a funeral or the death of a monarch. The clouds were mean-spirited creatures, bad dudes to cross. They banded together like lads on tour and floated around on the breeze, bringing misery to the people on the ground below them. And when the sun came out, the clouds didn't like that, not one little bit. But the sun didn't care. The sun was just the sun. And that's what he liked to say to them. "I can't change who I am," he said, "just like how you can't change what you are." "But we can change what we are," the clouds said. And they rumbled and thundered and changed from wispy cirrocumulus to big black cumulonimbus clouds, badder than a cat with a bird in its mouth. They opened themselves up and rained down on the poor people below them, who opened their umbrellas and turned on their windscreen wipers, but the rain was relentless and unsentimental. "Stop it!" shouted the sun. "You guys are horrible. Why would you ruin everyone's day like that?" "We're clouds," they replied. "We can't change who we are, and you can't change who you are." "But I've always been this way," the sun replied. "It's how I was born 4.6 billion years ago." "Preposterous," the clouds growled. "But what about the moon? She's beautiful. Check out the craters on that." "I'm not into craters," the sun said. "She's not my type." "Poor," one of the younger clouds said. The other clouds shot him a dirty look and whispered, "Shut up, Terry," in a rustling susurrus. Then they looked at the sun again. "What do you mean? How is she not your type?" "She's a she," said the sun. "I've always had a thing for other stars." "That's not natural," the clouds replied. "Of course it's natural," the sun said. "I'm the sun. I'm the most natural thing there is." The clouds had no retort to this. "I thought you'd understand," the sun said. "After all, you're clouds. Some of you are black, and some of you are white. Some of you are big, and some of you are small. We're different, the clouds said, but we're not perverse. We're not like you. We don't want you around here anymore. The sun was sad, and he was glad when the earth's rotation took the clouds away and gave him a view of a different world, a different country with different people living differently. Meanwhile, the clouds had a meeting. They gathered together and rained and rained and rained while they tried to decide what to do. The following day, after the earth had completed its rotation, the sun found itself face to face with the clouds again. The sun was still fabulous, but the clouds were grey and angry, and they were clumped closely together, thundering and rumbling loudly, their voices a harmony of dissent like the Nazis marching outside a mosque. Terry was holding a little sign that said, "Down with this sort of thing!" The thundering got louder, and the heavens opened, and the people down below got out their umbrellas again. But if the clouds had hoped to stop the sun from shining, they were in for a disappointment. The sun was proud to be who he was, so he shone even brighter than ever. Then they heard the people on the ground. They were laughing and clapping and pointing at the sky. They were whistling and giving balloons to their children and dancing in the street as they looked up at the clouds and the sun on the other side of them. They were clapping because the sun's light was piercing through the clouds and the rain was refracting it and bending it into the shape of a double rainbow. The clouds growled and turned back to the sun. "Stop it!" they demanded. "Stop what you're doing at once!" "I can't," the sun replied. "I'm not doing anything. I'm just being myself. I can't help it if you don't like the way that you perceive me." The clouds rumbled again, but the rain slowed to a stop and melted away down the drains and into the rivers. The rotation of the earth took the clouds and the people away again, and the sun was sad to see them go. The people on the ground looked up at the clouds, which stuck around into the night and the following morning. They shook their fists at them. "I wish those clouds would disappear," the people said.
That was The Sun Came Out. Thanks to Susie DeMarco for reading that, and thanks to me, I guess, for writing it. We're going to have some music now, and we're going to have some music from Twanged and Jack Ford, who is our album reviewer. He has many different faces and personalities, but one of the things in particular that I quite like of his is called Scandinavian Rhapsody. It's a bit of a nod to Hamlet. If you're watching the show on YouTube, which you can do at youtube.com/Dane Cobain, you'll be able to see the video that Dave created for it as well. And also reminder, you can check us out on iTunes, Spotify, and also at buzzsprout.com as well. So load of different catch-up places for you if you miss one of our shows.
My father is dead, may he rest in peace. And my uncle is marrying my mother. Well, there's something rotten going on round here. If it ain't one thing, it's the other. I fear put poison in father's ear. The truth is mine to uncover, and that's why no one wants me here. If it ain't one thing, it's the other. Alas, poor Yorick, a man I once knew, of infinite jest, just like me and you, Horatio. Heaven and on earth, to me it is plain. There's more than your philosophy can explain. Horatio, Horatio, Horatio. Oh, one you lisp an animal, boasting of how little you know, always changing the face you have been given. Well, go to a nunnery, go, go, go. Go to a nunnery, go, go, go. Go to a nunnery, go, go. I drove Ophelia mad, then I killed her dad. Now I've got to fight a duel with her brother, and if his blade doesn't get me, the poison will. If it ain't one thing, it's the other. And when all's been done and all's been said, even Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
Wycombe Mind mental health charity has transformed the way it offers support during the coronavirus pandemic. They run a helpline from 10 till 2 on Monday, Tuesday and Friday, and between 12 and 2 on Sundays. Wycombe Mind provides support through outreach by delivering essential items such as food and prescriptions. They also provide creative materials for art and gardening. If you'd like to contact Wycombe Mind, please call 01494 448 279 or email inquiries@wycombemind.org.uk.
We are Wycombe Mutual Aid, a group of local residents who have come together to support our community through this crisis. There are 3 key ways that we can help: picking up your prescriptions, doing your shopping for you, or just having a regular chat on the phone. Should you decide to make use of our service, we will pair you with a DBS-checked volunteer who lives close by. If you or someone you know would benefit from our support, please fill in the contact form at wycombe-mutual-aid.org or call 01 494 911 229. Thank you.
This is a COVID-19 update from Wycombe Youth Action. If you are a young person in need of support, we are still open and waiting to hear from you. We can provide you with mentoring, information, A-level or GCSE advice, signposting and any other help you may need to guide you through these confusing times. We'll also be running virtual drop-in sessions, Facebook challenges, Snapchat catch-ups and much more. To see what we're up to on social media, search Wycombe Youth Action.
This is an appeal from Wycombe Homeless Connection. People who live on the streets are incredibly vulnerable. Wycombe Homeless Connection work all year round making sure no one ends up living on the streets. They need your help to ensure anyone locally who might otherwise be homeless is safe and secure, and to make sure no one is homeless during the coronavirus pandemic. Just £5 a month can help them continue to support people who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. Visit their website at www.wyhoc.org.uk or call 01494 447 699 to find out more and to give today. Every gift helps. Thank you.
hold. Keep you warm in the streets not cold. One way woman, oh I want you. Just for you to hold. Keep you warm in the streets not cold. One way woman, oh I want you.
That was Girl by Silverbacks, and before that we had Scandinavian Rhapsody by Twangling Jack Ford. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM, Wycombe Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and it's about time for me to join this week's guest. So this week we had a little chat to Tom Bradley Jr. Over to Tom.
What does the songwriting process look to you? What's how do you go about writing a song? Do you start with the chords or the lyrics?
I don't know if you write as well your own songs, but it's a challenge in itself, and therefore I usually start with a guitar, and I used to start with a guitar at the start because I didn't really have any idea of hearing chords in my head, so I couldn't hear a D chord in my head or playing on the guitar. So the ones that are recently coming out, where they're getting more complex and faster chords and stuff, it's because I can hear the A minor in my head. And I can be
right, got you, yeah.
You are the, and I'm like, okay, that's an A minor to a G, and then that flips to a E minor and then F. I can hear it in my head better, so I can make it a bit more complicated, and add the falsettos. So it all depends. I mean, and also with stories as well. Like I love the idea that you get a concept, like you did with on the last week's show. You got the concept of you had the story, and you had a story play, didn't you, with Paul Cooper in as well?
Yeah.
You had a concept, and then you make something out of the concept. I sort of did that with the. I definitely did that with the song. I think it was "Falling." So I was sort of picturing that. I wasn't feeling too down, but I was thinking, what's a way to get out of here? And then the other one would Notice Me is definitely a concept, because it's looking at. I haven't been in the situation per se, but I felt it before, like when you're like the other half leaves after a big breakup and you walk back into an empty house. Very depressing, because I try to be a bubbly character and I write really depressing songs. So, so I tried to mix it up, but that sort of concept intrigued me, because I was like, well, you can from there. The songwriting might improve, because then you can pick out different things of what might be in the room, the darkness of the house, how it might feel a bit weakened because there's not sort of spirit in it. When you go to sit down for dinner at the table, and you haven't got that other person there to talk to about how your day's been, you walk through the door and no one's there to pick up the post. So you've got to pick up all the post after a long day, and can't go, honey, I'm home, because no one's there. Unless you've got a dog.
Yeah, or a cat, yeah.
Dog, yeah. Dog or a cat, yeah. 100%. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And one of the things I find quite interesting, and we touched on it earlier, is that you use TikTok. So how have you found TikTok as a way of sort of getting your music out?
Oh, I'm an old man when it comes to TikTok. I'm doing my best with it. It's more of a duets, getting involved in duets. I got
cool.
Duet. That's something I'm trying to push myself to get more involved in duets, because then you're collaborating with people, and it's the easiest collab in the world, which you're just picking up your phone and then you're just putting it on the side and just doing it in one take.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah,
I love how convenient that is as a musician, because it can be extremely inconvenient writing music or recording music. And then what else? Sort of varying it up. instead of just singing all the time, might do a guitar cover, because
Yeah.
where someone can hear the melodies more, or maybe like do little announcements saying there's a song coming, and
Yeah.
use it for little previews. But yeah, I think I won't get the most out of TikTok until I actually release something, because then you can add your
Yeah.
music onto TikTok, and then you can
Yeah.
make more like silly videos on there. I think the silly videos definitely seem to go far.
Yeah.
The highest view one I got was I was drunk. I was in my room. It was midnight, and I just got back from a few mates down at the beach. We were all together drinking a few beers, and I started recording for some reason, and I was recording myself playing Colorblind on YouTube, and I was like, that's me, and I was like, it's so silly, like, but it was like, be proud of who you are, and it sort of fits with what I want and my initiative that I like started with my music, and it got like a K plays. So I was like, it came out of nowhere. I was like, hang on, why is it going up? Like, it's the silliest thing I've uploaded. So yeah, it's varying the content, I think, is the big conclude. Vary that content. Don't put out the same thing all the time. Mix it up with the music genres as well. Don't always yours, because you might learn something from learning a new chord, or learning a new note, or learning a new progression. So
Yeah. Cool. And you mentioned Paul Cooper as well from the Open Mic Slate group. And I wanted to chat to you about that briefly. How important has that group been for you, and the support from that group?
If it wasn't for that group, I wouldn't have an album written. I wouldn't have a YouTube channel going. And even though they're not directly involved with the YouTube channel or the album writing or anything like that, the amount of positive encouragement, it's like posting into a void when you're a musician, especially on social media like Facebook, where they're not as lively, and you're like, but then when you go onto a Facebook group like Open Mic Slate, there's everyone listens to each other, and I've enjoyed listening to everyone else. They've been amazing. There's some amazing talents, and there's it just the positivity, and you can even ask for advice, and they'll give you some advice, and it's not patronizing. It's not. There's no egos in that group. It's I've been on live streams with them all a few times, and they've been so accepting. I'm the youngest one. You got my mom. I'm like a 24-year-old man, and then most of them have got kids, and they've got families, and they're in they're on the next stage of their life. I'm the stage behind, but they're just so accepting. And there are people on there who don't post as much, who are my age, but yeah, I've just thought the key thing he said to me is that you only get in what you put in, like you only get out what you, like, put into it. So I just went, all right, I'll see that challenge, and I'll do it, and I'll see what it's like. And it's been amazing. Paul Cooper is a massive inspiration to me. He's
a great guy.
I tell him how great he is, and his ego doesn't change, which is amazing in itself, because most people would be like, oh yeah, I'm pretty amazing, aren't I? If they were told about 10 times a month how great they are. So, he's been like a mascot for me. He's a massive
cool. And you mentioned live streams. Have you been doing any live streams during lockdowns and whatnot?
Well, I thought the problem is with I couldn't do any live shows, because I did 2 live shows in Thailand when I was out there, but they were my first ever ones, and I was super nervous, and I messed up a load of chords, but I got through, and it was great. And I've never had a live show properly in England, so I was like, well, I need to get over this fear. I need to do something. So I thought in April, I think when the lockdown came, everyone's on their phones, no better time to start live streaming, trying to do a live. So I went for it, and it was so nerve-wracking at the start. But after a while, it's like everything, you just, practice makes perfect. You roll with it, and you get better at it, and you get better at talking to a screen. Because I'm quite a chatty person, and I want to talk and feed off people. But when they're only feeding off a screen, it's even harder, because you've got no one, you've got no vibe to feed off. It's like it's weird because it's like even though there are people messaging at the bottom, I can't see who them people are unless they talk. So I just have to rely that I'm whether they're enjoying it or not, I'm just providing a good service for them. Because as much as I love doing it as well, it's also entertainment for them.
You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM at Wycombe Sound. My name's Dane Cobain. I'm here in conversation with Tom Bradley Jr. And this is one of his songs. This is Don't Care Anymore.
Take me far away from here. You have no reason to fear. Oh, I hope you come along and see your right from wrong. But you don't really care anymore. I'm watching our past from my window, and the time I went and broke my left elbow. Oh, I screamed, I shouted and cried, left a hole deep inside. But you don't really care anymore. And now I miss you more when everything is harder to see and believe in. Oh, wishing you'd turn around, pick me up when I'm feeling down. But that's just blown away with the wind. Oh, da 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 da. So take in every word of this song. My love is still strong, and when you're gone, oh, remember all those times and 13 reasons why our love will go on forevermore. But you still don't care anymore. Oh, our love will go on forevermore. But you still don't care
That was Don't Care Anymore by Tom Bradley Jr. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM Wycombe Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and I am joined by the man of the hour himself, Tom Bradley Jr.
Well, it's interesting because I personally would say that doing live streams, it is actually harder than performing at an open mic or something like that. Purely for those reasons you said, you can't look out and see what the audience is doing. I mean, even if they're visibly not enjoying your set, it's just a reassurance to know that there is somebody there, you know. So I find it personally a lot harder doing it online. So that should hopefully set you up in good stead, I would think.
Yeah, well, we hope, don't we? I mean, there'll definitely be a few chord models in my first live show, but I think as well it's so much easier because it's more about entertaining, and they're not looking at you so crucially on the specific technical side of performing.
Yeah.
Whereas with an Instagram live show, they're all looking at your hands. They're all, I feel like they're more it's more technical because you can't charm your way out of a situation. Yeah. So yeah, I totally agree, mate. I totally agree. Yeah.
Cool. So I want to know, just quickly as well. So you mentioned you played in Thailand. What were you doing there? Were you traveling? Was it a holiday?
Oh no, that was a work placement. I was a
Cool.
work placement. But obviously, I brought a cheapy little guitar out there, and they were saying that I wasn't very good at guitar then. I was sort of planning for learn my first few covers. And they asked me, they heard my voice, and I didn't think it was very good, but they thought it was all right. So they invited me to play at their town hall meeting. It's like a monthly
wow.
staff meeting. I was thinking, oh, it's all right, it'd be like 10 people. It's like 100 people there, Dane. I was like,
Wow.
I was like, what? Because what happened is that we went to set up and do the mic check, and I walked in. There's a massive town hall with all 50 seats alongside each side, and I'm just thinking, oh my god. But the greatest part is that because they're Thai, some of them don't understand what I'm even saying, so I could get away with it.
You can get the lyrics wrong. Yeah.
But
that's definitely a memorable first gig.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's definitely it's quite. But just getting through it was the main thing, and just trying to entertain really. And yeah, we did. We got through eventually. I had a band as well, which was great as well.
Yeah, cool.
People there as well. So yeah,
cool. So just a couple questions just to end on. So obviously you haven't really had much of a chance to play live because of the pandemic. So what are some of the venues in the UK that you really want to play?
Oh, are we talking about if I actually lift off, or are we talking about just in general?
Do your like start the career local venues and then headline spot kind of ones?
Well, obviously I want to be in Cameo. Now I'm joking. Not Cameo, not nightclub. But no, I don't think my music is quite for the nightclub scene. God, that's a really great question. I haven't really thought about it. I think I definitely want to do like the places like the Apollo, O2. They'd be the big ones. I'd be amazed at. The little ones, just little pubs, really. Like there's nothing more charming than a British pub, in my view.
It's true,
playing them, and obviously my music is quite. I'd say it's more smoother and softer than loud and hard. So I think it'd suit that. I'm just trying to think in Bournemouth because I'm living in Bournemouth at the moment, and there's some lovely venues. I'm just thinking of like the BIC, the Bournemouth International Centre, but that's more of a arena. Yeah, it's more pubs and little clubs. I don't have really a preference because I haven't actually gone and gigged. But I think I'll be, once I get the first acoustic album out, that because it'll be a track of guitar, one track of singing. It's like a really good demo. So I can then go and apply to these places, and I can go more detail. But yeah, at the moment, it's more taking one step at a time, not trying to rush it. Well, I try to, but I'm not sure if I do it really well. But like Michael Jordan's a massive inspiration to me, sporting figure in basketball, and he's just he says live in the present, and living in the present is just take each day as it goes, enjoy it, try to enjoy it. Obviously have goals for the future, but don't get lost in it, and enjoy, because like I've met people like Paul would be like enjoy it now because it flies by. And before you know it, you've hit the next stage of your life where you look at family, and you're really hitting your stride maybe in your career, or is like so you just have to enjoy every moment. I'd say.
It's kind of funny because my last question for you is what's next for you? So I guess what have you got planned next? What would a successful 2021 look like for you?
Getting these albums out. I'm working very hard to make sure I've got the money to actually release them. Yeah, getting these albums out. There won't be much promotion on the first one because it's just a debut acoustic demos one that I've just decided to do. But the second one, the studio one, that would be the one where I want to apply to loads of playlists and stuff like that. If I somehow got 10k streams overall, not on like a single track, overall on Spotify by the end of 2021, I'd be over the moon. But for me, it's I feel like everyone's in a rush to try and get famous. Everyone's in a rush to try and build their following. And I'm at the point where I don't know whether it's because I started later and I started as an adult and not as a kid. And I just think you just got to take your time, take it years it comes, and eventually it will come to you. Because I don't know. I say I want to dilly dally between blues soul and this like rock pop sound, but I think it takes years to try and figure out your sound. And
it's probably constantly changing as well.
Yeah, exactly. And you're obviously got to figure out your target audience as well. And you think, what does that sound fit? So yeah, for me, it's just taking time, releasing music, and just enjoying it, enjoying the journey. I'd say is the key.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And where can people follow you online to find out more?
I'd say Tom. Go on Instagram. So Instagram is Tom Bradley Jr. 24. That's probably the most active. I put all my stuff on there. If you're on Facebook, if you prefer Facebook, go on to Facebook, which is Tom Bradley Jr. And then obviously the YouTube. If you were looking for something more to binge in music, then go to that. So I try to offer a bit of everything. But yeah, I'd say Instagram is the go-to.
That was Tom Bradley Jr. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM at Wycombe Sound. I'm your host, Dane Cobain, and this is another Tom Bradley Jr. track.
Pick the post up at the door and cleaned up the floor, 'cause we don't talk anymore now. Broken memories left to waste, and I need a little space, 'cause we don't talk anymore now. But I hope she's doing fine without me, and I hope she changed her mind, notice me, yeah. And I hope she's doing fine without me, and I hope she changed her mind and notice me. Empty places at the table now, and I'm out of place somehow, 'cause we don't talk anymore now. Broken memories left to waste, and I need my best mate, 'cause we don't talk anymore now. But I hope she's doing fine without me, and I hope she changed her mind, notice me, yeah. And I hope she's doing fine without me, and I hope she changed her mind and notice me. I hope she changed her mind. Notice me, yeah. And I hope she's doing fine without me, yeah. And I hope she changed her mind and notice me.
Looking for a high-quality workspace to let, including serviced offices, workshops and studios? With over 30 managed office spaces in the UK, here at BasePoint Business Centres we have spaces suitable for almost any business use imaginable. Our very flexible easy in and easy out terms let you save time and money when compared to conventionally leased space. Call us on 0208 068 9158 or visit basepoint.co.uk to learn about our great offers and benefits. We'll be happy to help. BasePoint, one company, many solutions.
It's just the flu. You hear people say it every year. But if you're immunosuppressed, have a learning disability or have a condition such as multiple sclerosis, cerebral palsy, motor neurone or Parkinson's, there's no just about it. Flu is a virus that can cause serious complications. That's why we offer you the flu jab free. It's your very best protection. Ask your pharmacist or GP today. NHS. We're here to help you protect against flu.
Did you know there's a new council coming for Buckinghamshire? From the 1st of April, the new Buckinghamshire Council will replace the existing county and district councils. Don't worry, your bins will still be collected. We'll continue to run libraries, maintain the roads, look after vulnerable adults and children, and there'll be all the day-to-day services you are used to. One council will make it simpler for you. We'll be able to improve services together and give you better value for money. Buckinghamshire Council. Your Buckinghamshire, your council. A better future together.
At last, my lover's gone alone. My lonely days are over, and life is like a song. Oh, yeah, at last. The skies are far blue. My heart was wrapped up in clover. The night I look at you, I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I can call my own. I found a dream to brush my cheek to, a dream that I never know. You smile, and then the spell was cast, and here we are in heaven. For you are mine at last.
That was At Last by Etta James, a cover by Betty Corsi. Cracking cover, I really love it. And before that we had Notice Me by Tom Bradley Jr. You're listening to The Art Show on 106.6 FM at Wycombe Sound. I'm your host Dane Cobain, and it's that time of the week where we get an album recommendation. So I'm going to hand you over to Twangling Jack Ford over in the Oak Shed.
Earth to Dora by Eels. I first heard Eels back in the 90s. I was driving back from London late at night, and their song Susan's House came on the radio, and there's something quite unnerving about that song, especially in the early hours of the morning on a deserted M40. So another song of theirs at the time was Novocaine for the Soul. So the songs they were making were quite challenging, and they had a very simple sound, bit of keyboard, bit of piano, some bass, and the drum pattern, which was current in the 90s, was that boom boom which you'd Stone Roses and that Manchester. It even occurred in folk music. Even the Chords were using it. Everything. Lighthouse Family based their whole repertoire on it. And so I was given this year for Christmas because the person giving it to me thought it was something I'd like, and I do. I mean, it's easier to listen to than you'd expect from a band that produced quite scary stuff in the past. But lyrically, the lyrics are still there on the edge, and the reason I like it is because it sounds like an Ilk album where Dane had written all the songs. Earth to Dora, Eels. You have to be very careful not to say the Eels.
Thank you very much, Twangling Jack Ford. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in and listened today. Thank you to Tom Bradley Jr. for joining me. I'm going to leave you with one last tune, and this is Superlord with Alice Olive. And hopefully we will be speaking to Superlord soon, possibly for next week's show. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. Until next week.
This is Wycombe Sound.